Good afternoon, good morning, whatever time you're watching this video. We have with us Mark Swift, who is Software Product Manager with Mortgage Cadence. He is going to be a featured speaker at the InfoSource Capture 2022 conference. This is yet another in our series of sneak peeks of the conference to give you a little bit of a glimpse of what you'll be getting if you do decide to attend. And for those of you who don't decide to attend for whatever horrific reason you have, this will be valuable in and of itself. Mark has been in the imaging, document management, and business process automation space for more than 25 years. Throughout his career, Mark has had a focus on integrating best-of-breed imaging and capture solutions to ERP-sized business applications like PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, Oracle, and most recently, the Mortgage Cadence Platform, MCP. Mark, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, let's launch into the first of our short list of questions here. So as I was reading through your session description, I was struck by the use of document management solutions in your bio. This industry, which revolves around documents, has historically sort of shied away from that term, document management. So why does Mortgage Cadence have DM specifically in your list of responsibilities?
Well, it's interesting that you grabbed onto that terminology. I have been around the industry for a long time, and document management was, a big buzzword years ago with various platforms and so on. I think it's a good term to use, and my company has used it when we talk about all the functions for merging, splitting, viewing, annotating, versioning. It's a great overarching terminology for that. It's not imaging, it's not capturing documents, it's not the workflow of documents, it's what we do with documents, once we have them in our document repository. So it's maybe it's an old term, but I've used it quite a bit for overarching technology functionality, document management. That's what our end users are doing with the documents. They're managing them, they're stacking them in the mortgage industry. That's a very big thing. And so document management is the term that we use.
Okay. As you were speaking, a question came to me, and it's kind of a little bit of a soapbox I've been on and off for a little bit. And we were talking just before we started recording. We've both been AIM, and you've been involved in the industry obviously for quite a while. Do you think the constant flipping of terms away from something simple like document management or capture to now, we're in intelligent document processing and intelligent automation, or pick whatever phrase you want to use, do you think that's helped or hurt adoption of this technology in the market at large?
Oh boy, that's quite a question, because I think I started when we called it IDOM, right? Imaging Document Output Management, right? Years ago. I understand the changing terminology and the need for it to keep it fresh and exciting. I mean, this technology has been around for a really long time, and still, I don't know the rates. Maybe you know the percentage of adoption and usage and so on better than I do, but we need to keep it fresh. We need to keep it out there. We need to keep it in front of people, because still we don't see. I just recently wrote an article for our end users about how to scan a document properly. So I mean, 300 DPI, clean your scanner every once in a while, right? I had to do things like that in order to remind people. So anyway, back on your terminology question and the nomenclature. I think we need to keep it fresh. I think we need to keep it out in front of people and keep it moving forward. So I've adopted the various names along the line, along the way, as they've come out. And but still in all, I think things like document management still have a good play and a good usage out there. So.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. And now we'll get back on that. We'll get back to our regular scheduled program now that throwing a curveball in your direction. So the data-driven workflows segment of your title, I think, is so crucial. Can you share an example of what you mean by that?
Sure. So Mortgage Cadence is what we call loan origination system, LOS. A little bit different we could call it a line of business application, LOB, right? But when we first built the product, we built it first with a workflow engine in it, and then we've built everything on top of it. So when imaging was introduced some years ago, we wanted the imaging and the receipt of documents and the receipt of data to drive the workflow and the movement of the loan through the origination process. So an example is that a processor can't start or should not necessarily start looking at a loan, or an underwriter start looking at a loan until key documents are already in the loan and statused as okay and reviewed by certain people. So we have a workflow event that is raised and executed when documents are received, and we can check off and say, hey, these critical documents have arrived. Now I can move the loan to the next stage. And we do the same thing with data. So when we're looking at a refinance or a purchase of a large home, there's different criteria that's involved in those mortgages, and we can build rules around that to drive the workflow when data and documents are received. It's super important in our industry because, as we'll talk about a little bit later, efficiency of the back office is now the thing again. It was the borrower experience. Now it's back to back office efficiency, and that really comes play hand in hand with workflow.
Okay. Well, as a borrower, I like that. I like that improved borrower experience.
Right.
So changing gears a little bit. So how intelligent is artificial intelligence, and how does it work within your platform?
Yeah. So right now we have two primary pieces of artificial intelligence. That's the machine learning for our model building that we use to recognize and classify documents, and then there's the online learning that is done when an exception is handled by the user, and the system learns from those interactions. So those are a couple of the places. Now, how smart is it? We still need to provide, even to the most sophisticated software platforms, many samples to build accurate models. And the reason is a lot of vendors out there will proclaim, oh, I only need 5 samples of a document to recognize that document. And that is absolutely true when you're in a bubble and you're just recognizing that one particular document. But our solution recognizes between 350 and 450 document types in the mortgage transaction. So we do need to provide more samples so that the recognition can be more accurate to separate those individual document types. So I consider it pretty smart, but it's still burdensome when we're creating a new model to gather all those samples and make sure they're ready to be fed into the engine for the machine learning. And then the online learning, you got to be a little bit careful there, because you can teach the system something incorrect as easily as you can teach it the correct approach for classifying documents. So we still temper that automatic online learning with a little bit of review to make sure that we're not seeing one particular user skew the learning pattern. So how smart is it? It's smart, but we still have pieces where we inject ourselves into the process for the highest level of accuracy that we can achieve.
So we've not hit iRobot stage yet, right?
No, I don't think so. But some of the articles that are coming out about sentient AI speech recognition models is a little bit scary.
Yeah. So some of the I've read a little bit about speech recognition and some of the ability to sort of analyze sentiment based on word placement, and it's pretty amazing.
It is.
So just rolling into the last question, give us a preemptive takeaway from what you'll be sharing at the Capture conference. Sort of
Well,
tease us a little bit as it will.
yeah, well, I was going to talk about our solution and the number of document types and the complexity and so on. I was going to talk about the document and data-driven workflow and AI. I was also going to mention, solving customer business problems and knowing what the business problems are for that data extraction and that automation is still very key. I'm a very big proponent of pure product management, where you interview your end users. What are their problems? What business problems should we be prioritizing? Customer service and so on. I'm really big on that. And then I was going to just talk a little bit about, who knows what our next steps are with AI. There's been many advances. Again, I mentioned model building, online learning, lots of different things that are in our industry, and who knows what is to come with Accenture. Our parent company is very big into the metaverse, right? So if we start looking at augmented reality, virtual reality tools, and Oculus and some of the things like there, how can that be built into business applications to help us with some of these manual steps along the line, exception processing or model building or whatever. I mean, we really, I think I'm very positive about where things could go with new technology.
That's kind of interesting. I don't know why I flash back to the Jetsons, and maybe we don't have our flying car yet, but maybe we'll get like some version of Rosie the robot, right?
Right, or something where you're wearing something and you're nodding your head and you're agreeing or whatever. I'm not really sure where it's going to go, but to think that it's going to stay static or stagnant, I think would not be the right approach.
Thank you very much for your time and your insight this morning, Mark, and look forward to seeing you in September.
Very good.